All right.
You on the floor?
There is just a ton of red still in the sky tonight. All right. So here we've got M3. And as you can see, if I fit the window with the Raza, it's really tiny. On the other hand, fit to window with the 10-inch and the DS432, it's quite a bit larger image scale.
I don't know why he keeps shooting in his water. I can't get that.
That's a function of the 432 having a smaller chip,
He shoots in there.
about 80% of the width of the DS10C, as well as being due to the 10-inch scope having obviously a much longer focal length at f6 than an 8-inch at f2. So I'm going to put it dark in here. You can see how this shifts in here. Seeing isn't very good tonight. All right.
Stick out. See what he's obviously doing something different.
Hi there, Ms. Friggy.
I don't know if it's this one. Well, the other one was,
Let's try a white balance
yeah,
here.
no, I took it out.
That's a little better. All right, we're at 2.5 seconds. So 2.5, whoa, there's another one. There are satellites everywhere tonight. Now, this is actually looking a little bit soft. So I'm going to, yeah, that's not bright enough, darn it. I think I'm going to have to refocus here in a little bit with the VRC-10. Hey, Michael. Only going to get worse in terms of smoke, Jeff? So here we got one. All right, at 210 milliseconds, we started to blow out a bit. Oh, sats, yeah. Hey, Waterloo Observatory. But yeah, like I said, we're still waiting for it to get dark. So we're just kind of monkeying around with some globular clusters. So this is M3. Got a little bit of sharpening. This is with the Raza, and I'm using a 165 millisecond exposure. And here we've got the same thing. This is with the VRC-10 at f6 with the DS432C. So you can see, again, a real difference in image scales. I'm going to back out here a little bit, because with the condition of the sky tonight, in terms of seeing, zooming in a long ways isn't necessarily going to give you the best view. But this kind of illustrates, the age-old question. People say, oh, hey, what's the best telescope? What's the best camera? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it really depends on your purpose. If you have an interest in smaller targets, globulars, galaxies, small galaxies, medium galaxies, that kind of thing, well, a bigger telescope with a smaller chip makes a big difference. On the other hand, a really fast scope with a short focal length and a slightly bigger chip in the process, you're not going to have nearly as much enjoyment with your globulars and whatnot. So, to me, I find the 432 to be quite nice when we're looking at smaller targets. And it fits nicely in my 10-inch. The DS10C is really a beautiful fit for the Raza 8. So yeah, this is M3. Hopefully, Woody can. Let's see. Yeah, my mic is working according to OBS. Can somebody ask Woody to log out and log back in? All right, let's see where else we can go for this time of night. Still going to be a ways until we get dark. The one thing I want you to note, just out of comparison, each of these globulars is going to have its own personality. So I'm going to zoom in real quick. And you notice how there's almost a 5-point, as though you had a die with the number 5 on it. Bink, 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 bink. And you can barely see that. If you zoom in a crazy amount, you see it looks more like a cross with the Raza. So let's zoom back out for both of them. And now we're going to go over to M53. Bear with me here. Hey, good deal, Woody. I'm glad you got it. All right. Now, I'm going to go with the other mount over to M53. And go to. It's kind of an interesting dance because the one mount I'm controlling with the hand controller, the other I'm controlling with Stellarium. Because with the Lowe's Mandies and one computer, you can't do 2 at once. All right, hang on here. That's roughly centered there. Oh, darn. That's a lot of guests. Here, I was hoping that was a lot of watchers. Okay, so now we're in a slightly different part of the sky. And notice our histogram is squished up against the left-hand side. with the DS432. So we're in a darker part of the sky. We're higher up. So I'm going to increase our exposure to 4 seconds. Let's see what that does. We can probably even go to 5 seconds. So M53, instead of having a 5-sided die in the center, it almost looks like some kind of a weird triangle in there. Hey, Perry. Hey, Derek. That's a pretty nice view there. But that's at 5 seconds now instead of 2.5. So let me bring, what's 5 seconds? We're going to go up to about 3/4 of a second here. And then if we zoom way in and turn off the live stack, there we go. So I'm blowing out the core with the Raza at 3/4 of a second. That was interesting. Didn't think I did anything to my hue, but it just self-adjusted. And let me come back up here. I'm going to drop my exposure down to 700 milliseconds in the Raza in DS10. And I think I'm also going to drop my saturation a little bit. So to get that field, or to get that view, I've got to zoom in from the 56%, which is fitting to the screen, all the way up to 200%. So the image is going to break down a little bit. But you can see that nice triangle in the center that I was talking about. Hey, Dino, I'll tell you what, M3 is a beautiful target. Beautiful target. In fact, let me take a quick look at something here. This is M3 using the DS10C tech in the, let's see. Yeah, in my 10-inch. I ran that through Photoshop the other day, but that's what cropped F6 in the, actually no, that's not cropped, sorry. That's the field of view at F6 with the DS10C tech after Photoshop processing. So M3 is really an eye popper if you're careful with it. And to look at M3 without any again, this is the 10-inch at F6 with the DS10C tech. So this is M3 without any processing at all from the other night. So yeah, it's beautiful. Gotta go after that one. All right, so M53. I think we're getting dark enough now. That's no kidding. That is no kidding. All right, let's go to M64. I think it's dark enough to do some galaxy work. All right, I'm going to back this out. So M64 is still a smaller galaxy. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to center the 432. I want to bring that bright star to about there. So let me drop my exposure. That's pretty close. All right, so with this bad boy, it's a bit fainter. So I'm going to run 8 seconds. Start my loop there. And then in the Raza, bring that up to about 2 seconds. Looks like we're starting to lose a little bit of the core. All right. Looks like our white balance is halfway decent. And we've got sharpening on. We're going to remove that to give us a cleaner view. And let's see. We'll bring in, what did we say this was? 2 seconds. We'll bring in an appropriate dark. So BS10C Tech. And darks. No, we got a 2.5 second, which is reasonable. All right. So now, let's zoom in a ways. There is something happening here. So if you notice, you see how much noise is in the background with the DS10C Tech here? That's not typical for this camera. That is most likely because of the haphazard way that I'm running cables into my observatory from outside. It's just introducing a bit of noise. So if you have, I'm going to start stacking on this. If you have power cables touching your USB 3 cable, it's very easy to have that corrupt the signal coming in and introduce noise. Do you see how smooth the 432 is here? And that, my friends, is without any stacking. So let's see. Let me bring in an 8-second dark. It would help if I brought in a dark from the proper camera. And I've got a 70-second dark. I'm going to watch the hot pixel right here. Now, that one didn't go, but most of them did. All right. So we are stacking. Now we can significantly increase our exposure time on this, but we do that at risk of blowing out that core. Hey, Rodney. Hey, thanks, Barry. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's kind of a tricky beast. Kind of a tricky beast. Oh, boy. So you can see the galaxy itself is starting to materialize. And I'm just using 8-second exposures here. Got really nice dust lanes here in the center. Now we go back to the Raza. So we still have that noise. And that just makes me wonder what I have touching. But nonetheless, you can see the same setup. But again, to see this, we have to zoom in to 200%. And we also have the benefit, speaking sarcastically, of the skies continuing to darken. The histogram continues to slide to the left ever so slowly. So we have 2x2 binning. And, all right. So that's 2 seconds, though, with the Raza. I appreciate it, Jack. Hey, Jack, do you know if the frame rate impacts the amount of noise you might see on screen? Because in order to do this two camera dance, I had to drop the frame rate for both of them. All right, so that's 15 in. So now I'm going to add sharpening and we're going to bump it up to 12 seconds. I'm going to bring in a 10-second dark. I mean, the 432 has very, very, very little noise right now. And I'm 99% sure what I'm seeing here is cable management. But let's see. Let's see, we got, in terms of actual game members, we've got Rusty, we've got Applos, we've got Jim, we've got Zamrak, we've got JC, Utah, Perry, Derek, Woody, Dino, Waterloo. I think that's Michael. Miss Fergie, Jeff, Jack, Steve, and yep, Jack is on here. That's Wanting Moon Observatory. This is pretty good turnout. Pretty good turnout. So right now we're looking at M64, and I've got them zoomed in quite a ways for detail. So this is M64 with a DS432C, and I just started adding 12-second exposures to a stack of 8-second exposures for some live high dynamic range. And basically what that means is, if you're running whatever exposures in trigger mode, you can stop it, change your exposure, and start up again, and it'll begin adding those different exposures, those longer exposures to your live stack. So I'm going to back out now here. This is what it looks like with the Raza, because the Raza is a much shorter focal length, much shorter focal length scope, and the DS10C Tech has a larger chip. So now, I think we're dark enough. Yeah, I think we might be able to go for some slightly larger views. So I'm going to go center on M66. With the Raza, we'll get the Leo triplet. I actually don't want M66, I want a hamburger. All right, so bear with me here. We're going to go to NGC 3628. And Rose Mandy will think about it and go there. Perfect. All right, so here we've got the Leo triplet, the DS10C tech. And again, we're running with a gain of 40, and we're running a 2-second exposure. And let's see. That's a little bit better. Got our histogram looking pretty good, not much noise according to the histogram. And I think I might have just fixed it. I think my one cable was contacting the back of my PC. So I'm going to increase exposure now. Bring this one up to 5 seconds. So this is with the Raza at 5 seconds. And you can see, when I zoom in a little bit, we're blowing out the core at M66 and M65 a little bit, but we'll get more detail over here on the hamburger. Then, I think I'm just going to start live stacking. Then let's go back to the 432. And let's stop our stack. So, I'm going to get a little bit aggressive here, be forewarned. I'm going to go to 25 seconds. And I'm going to bring my gain up to 120. Actually make it 20 seconds. And what that's going to do, that's going to bump my histogram. It's also going to introduce noise. But I'm going to bring in an appropriate dark. And we're going to do white balance. For some reason, when I got my darks with the higher gain settings, they weren't quite up to snuff. I got a little bit of extra amp flow out on the edges. That's a little bit better. I think I can live with that. All right. So you can see there's more noise in the image now, and that's a function of having the higher gain. All right. So I've got a little bit bright background. Actually, I think I'm going to clip some data, because the more noise you have, the brighter your background when you start live stack. All right. There we go. Let's do some stacking, shall we? And we'll remove sharpening too. There we go. You see how the noise diminished somewhat when I got rid of the sharpening? The rule of thumb with sharpening is it sharpens everything, including noise. right, let's go back to the Raza. We got some pretty nice views coming in here, but the fun thing is with the Raza, we're using 5-second exposures, and we didn't adjust our gain at all. We're still using only 25% gain with the ES10C tech. But we are using 2x2 pinning. So tonight I'm not going to mess around with the approach of dropping gamma. You can do that and get more detail out in the periphery, but like I say, I'm not gonna deal with that. So let's back out and see. This is the full field of view with the Raza. And that's with 5-second exposures. And aside from saturation, everything is pretty much default. And you see these nice, smooth curves on your histograms. When it wasn't quite daylight, or it wasn't quite darkness yet, the red was really jagged and far wider than the green and the blue. And that is coming more into line as night's falling. Thanks, Barry. I appreciate it. So again, it's, I'm not looking for pretty pictures tonight. I'm just looking for some nice views. And in 5 seconds, boy, this is all right. So let's zoom in 300% with the Raza. And here we are about the same size with the DS432. Now it looks like there's a bit of noise still because we've only got 6 frames in. Now, if your interest is in nice, clean, noise-free views at all times, being able to have a shorter exposure is nice, because then you're not sitting there all night waiting for the stack to average out noise and whatnot. On the other hand, one of the things I really enjoy, like in this case, I'm using a 20-second exposure. Okay, that's 20 seconds. It's not, it's not chump change. But by giving me a little bit more noise, I have a shortened exposure. If I were to go back to using, like let's say a gain of 60, so it maxes out at 250. So 60 is, I don't know, what's that, 20% or something like that. 120 is about 40%-ish. The same illumination, there's its satellite, the same illumination with a gain of 60 is going to be twice as long as the exposure with a gain of 120. And that's pretty cool. It's almost a linear relationship, not exact, but close. And boy, I'll tell you, if you can live with a little extra noise from pumping up your gain, the 432 is a light rocket. Now, again, we're a little bit rough here. We're at 300% zoom to try and get the same image scale. If we back out a little bit, things clean up quite a bit too. Now the fun thing is with these two cameras, there's one satellite and there's the same satellite. So we're looking at real time with two separate cameras right now, two separate scopes. Now the one thing I discovered, I didn't discover, it was just new to me. The other night we were looking at the hamburger. The blob up here is actually triangular shaped. So I'm going to drop my white point considerably here. from the default down to 150. And so what that's going to do is that's going to say, okay, any illumination along this histogram, any illumination that would have otherwise been in the top 106 slots, we're going to treat it as the brightest of bright. So the net effect is that we're going to see bright objects start to get brighter on screen. So in this case, hopefully we'll see a little more detail around the periphery. We're definitely going to see a brightening of the core. Now here with the DS432 and the bigger scope, we see a lot more detail in the dust lane. It's brighter. You can start to see this triangular shape up here. Yep, it does. And in fact, we zoom in even further, you can just start to make out the dark lanes doing the Y down below and the triangular shape up above. When I do this and I've got all the time in the world, I'll use longer exposures and the image just cleans up wonderfully. One thing you're seeing right now, you see this dark donut right over here. Okay, the dark donut, that's a dust bunny. Apparently I got a dust mold on my sensor window. I didn't blow it off with my air bulb today. Thanks, Jim, I appreciate it. Now, this brighter donut right up here, that is actually a reflection of this star. I'm using a focal reducer in the Ritchie accretion. And what's happening is the light from this star is coming in, and there's a slight reflection off the sensor window, hitting the glass of the focal reducer, and then being picked up as a visual object by the sensor itself. And that just happens. You know, when you get some brighter stars, like if you want to look at the horse head with a wide field, and you've got Alnitak nearby, oh, Alnitak is just brutal because it's so stinking bright. All right, let's see here. Let's go back. So here's the hamburger again over 5 seconds. Now it's brightened up a little bit. We can see a little more detail. See, here's that Y that you're just talking about with the dark lane being split. But again, if I want to go for smaller targets, that's where the longer focal length and smaller field of view tends to come in. Smaller field of view means a larger image scale. You know, we've got a beautiful view with this camera and this scope, but we're zoomed in 300% from the native 66%. Yeah, I love this. I know that's a shocker, right? Okay, let's see here. Oh, I just love that view. Just love it. And that's with only 26 in the stack. So let's see what else we're going to look at here. So since we're in a beautiful area of galaxies, I think we should, well, no, let's see. I want something big. All right, let's go to let's go to M95 and M96. I'm going to center on M96. And ooh, I got a thought. if I take a view of M96 tonight, hey, I appreciate it, Woody. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. The big thing is when you're doing it, you've got to have two separate windows open from Cam Sky. And I found that I could only run one camera at a time if I was running at the typical high frame rate. I had to drop my frame rate down at least to the middle in order to make it work. No, last night there was an asteroid that was close to M95. Let's go to M95 and M96, and we can maybe take a shot with the Raza there and see if we can see anything move from last night to tonight. Here. Why did that move? There we go. 96 with pedal. Ooh, beautiful. Dead center. All right. No, this isn't good. The mouse seems to suddenly have a mind of its own. All right. It's either a lot of satellites or it was going Pink Floyd on me, one of the two. Oh, wow. Okay. That is grotesquely overexposed. I'm going to stop. We go to video mode. I'm going to ramp up my exposure. Bring my white point back down to default. And there we go. So it only, under 0.6 seconds, we can resolve the core, at least of the galaxy, when we max out our exposure time. And that's not, maxing exposure isn't going to give you the cleanest view, but if you really want to get short exposures, it'll do you nicely. And it works well if you want to find something and move to it. Now watch this. So I don't use binning with the 432. But when you bin the 432, so it's kind of garish because you're starting out with 9 micron pixels to begin with. But this is 0.6 seconds on a galaxy with 2x2 binning and then maximum gain. So we'll go back to normal here. All right. So let's drop back down to 60. And we're going to do 20 seconds. So we're not pinning. And once 20 is up, we'll have a histogram. Now let's fine tune this a little bit. You're dramatically overexposing those cores. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop gamma a little ways. I'm going to bring in a 5-second dark with 0.75 gamma. From the correct camera. Tech. Oh, I don't have the gamma adjustments on here. Oh well. Do that. Okay. I think that cleaned things up a little bit. And I'm going to do a quick white balance. Let's see what happens here. Alright. I think that'll work. And we're good on the histo. Got our dark. We've got our flat. We've got our flat. Hey Don, how you doing, man? And here comes the satellite. Perfect. Alright, so here we're going to bring in. This is one of the challenges running the two cameras, is attending to all of their settings. So with that dark, I got some kind of schmutz right there on my lens, darn it. That dark, you see this amp flow diminish. Not sure what tripping over your fingers means, but that's an image that a lot of fun. I'm going to bring in a flat. There we go, that cleaned it up a bit. I don't know what that is. That thing's moving. There's another one up there. I wonder if I have an insect that got into my system. Or two. Oh well. I'll deal with it later. Okay. So we've got a little bit of a blown out core here, but not too terrible. Like I said, this is M96. Yeah, it's like the water bug galaxy or something, right? And let's just start doing some stacking here and see what kind of detail we can pull out in the periphery of the galaxy. There's a nice little satellite creeping across the field of view. Yeah, I'm not saying it was aliens, but, you know, might be aliens. Oh, little dog. All right, so this is stacking up in here. Let's zoom in. You see some of that detail there in the galaxies. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, it's moving way too fast. What is happening here? Oh. That explains an awful lot. So I had somebody once ask me what you do when you make a mistake when you're broadcasting. And for a minute, I thought about making a joke about not making mistakes. And then you just saw that I was trying to figure out my white balance because I was getting up into my dome. So I just had to fix that. When you get in and try and do some broadcasting, don't expect to be perfect. You use gear you're familiar with, and you do your best, and then just let the evening happen. Oh yeah, I got Bella on my lap tonight. You know, like I said, she had a bunch of teeth removed on Friday, and so she is my shadow of epic proportions, much more so than normal. All right, we're going to start stacking this one. Hopefully, as we stack, we're going to see more of the extended galaxy begin to appear. Yeah, pretty much, Woody. That's about what it is. Yeah, it's not too bad, Jack. It's about 45 degrees tonight. I'm actually trying to, with the dog on my lap, my legs are sweating, and the rest of me I have to keep bundled up, and it's kind of a weird temperature balance. All right, I'm seeing some nice core detail starting to come out here. Let me zoom in a little bit. See that little bit of darkness here? Not just the circular portions that are on the sides of the bar, but there's actually some detail, dark detail in the bar itself. Then if we zoom in big time, we don't have quite as much detail, again, because we're zoomed in so far. Oof. You know, I had the dome open most of the day today. It's one of the nice things with the dome, though. When you open it and turn the opening away from the sun, everything's in the shade. But we had a pretty ferocious wind most of the day today, and but the Raza I have on a Lowe's Bandy G11G, and I've attached it to a heavy rolling cart, and I put at the bottom of each leg 20 pounds of like aerobic leg weights. So that way it brought the center of gravity way, way, way down towards the ground. So even if, like today, we had 15, 20 mile an hour winds, there was no risk of it toppling over. That's some nice detail in there. Now again, with the Raza, we're looking at 5-second exposures. I've got the DS10C set with a gain of 40, which is 25% of maximum, high conversion gain, and 2x2 binning. So right now we've got 68 in the stack. It's still not clearing up as much as I would like, but in terms of noise, but it's better. So that having my cable close to my laptop was definitely making a difference. Oh, it was really dry here. Then we had 3 inches of rain 2 nights ago. So I did a little trenching. I put new gravel on my driveway and it created a pool that was right next where my observatory is. And the last thing I want is mosquitoes breeding next to the observatory. So I made a trench and now the water runs real nice. All right, so let's see here. So we've got M105 is this big guy here. And we've got M96 and M95. And then some of these smaller galaxies, we have NGC 3384 and NGC 3389. Then, because we do have that crazy wide field of view, another little galaxy over here, and that would be not in Stellarium. Well, that's unfortunate. So last night, when we were out towards the end of the show, I went ahead and took, took a look at the Virgo cluster, and just for giggles, I loaded it up into astrometry.net and told it to identify the galaxies. It didn't identify every galaxy, but these are all galaxies that were in the image that we took last night. So that's, when they talk about the Virgo galaxy cluster, that's what they're talking about right there. This is the unprocessed view of it. And you can see it's pretty dense. Now, that was with the Raza and the DS10C Tech last night. All right. Go back here. Okay, I'm going to save this. And again, I'm going to save it because then maybe we can see that asteroid.